Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Studio Ghibli Summer. I'm, of course, RussellStarTrek, joined by the amazing Boy.
Hello.
And today, we, after our traumatic experiences with Only Yesterday, I was really hoping for something good. And I did not know what to expect from this one. So I went into this kind of with no expectations. If you guys can't tell by the title and the thumbnail, we for episode, what is this, 7 now?
Yeah, 7.
I'm losing track already. For episode 7 of Studio Ghibli Summer, we are going to be talking about Porco Rosso, which was released on July 18th of 1992.
Oh my god.
And,
wait, I just realized something. By the time we're recording this, it's fucking July 18th today.
Oh yeah, so probably at when this video gets released, it's probably going to be the what is it, the 21st anniversary? No, 31st anniversary.
Yeah, 31st.
31st anniversary of this film. So congratulations to you. No, but all in seriousness, we did not even think about that before hitting the cameras on.
Yeah,
so.
I just realized that.
But yeah, so I'm kind of excited to get into this one a little bit, and I think Franco knows why. But yeah, so this film was made with a budget of around $9.2 million in U.S. money. In Japan, it made about around $39 million, and worldwide it made about around $45 million. So pretty good numbers, I would say. And again, this was directed by the legend himself, Hayao Miyazaki, after he wasn't really that involved with Only Yesterday. And
thank God
we can see why.
And thank God he came back to clutch up and save us from a very awful movie experience.
Don't remind me of it.
Yeah.
Please, just don't.
It was truly awful.
Yeah, but I think you already tell by our moods already. We love this movie. Well, maybe love is going. We did enjoy ourselves with this movie, and yeah, this is certainly way better than Only Yesterday.
Yeah, there's no fucking denying that.
Yeah. So I mean, is there anything else you want to say before we move on?
I was, after the last movie we saw, I was really hoping something better, and I mean, we did get it. So yeah, I guess let's move on to the summary now.
So, in Italy, in the 1930s, sky pirates in biplanes terrorized wealthy cruise ships as they sail the, I think you say, Darkic Sea?
The Adriatic.
Okay, Adriatic. The only pilot brave enough to stop the scourge is the mysterious Porco Rosso, played by the fantastic Michael Keaton, a former World War I flying ace who was somehow turned into a pig during the war. As he prepares to battle the pirate crew's American ace, Porco Rosso enlists the help of a spunky girl mechanic, Piccolo, played by Kimberly Williams Paisley in the American version, and his longtime friend Madeline Gina, played by Susan Egan in the American version. So, we're going back to a very probably more involved plot than Only Yesterday, but certainly not as complicated as some of the other films we discussed so far.
Yeah.
Such as Nausicaa and Grave of the Fireflies. It's definitely refreshing to have a more involved plot, but have it more simplified. Compared to Only Yesterday, where that had basically no fucking story involved, and compared to some of the, like I said, some of the more complicated story films in Studio Ghibli's catalog, like Nausicaa and Grave of the Fireflies. This is a very simple story, kind of more on the lines of My Neighbor Totoro, but you know, a little bit more involved than that one was. But yeah, you know, unless you want to say anything else, Franco, about the story, then we can move on.
I mean, I'll just say that it's surprisingly very easy to understand. It's like, despite
Yeah.
that summary sounds like it's a lot, but when you watch it, you surprisingly just know everything.
Yeah, it's very simple.
Yeah.
But yeah, so to go over the characters, we have our main lead, Porco Rosso, played by the aforementioned Michael Keaton. I'm gonna be honest, I did not initially notice that it was Michael Keaton. I just thought this was some random guy not giving it a good performance. But then Franco pointed out to me that it is Michael Keaton who is playing Porco Rosso. And when I heard it, all I could hear is fucking Bruce Wayne. Yeah. For anyone who doesn't know, he did play Batman in both Batman '89 and Batman Returns in 1992. So I do get very Bruce Wayne vibes from Porco in this film. And after figuring out it was Michael Keaton, I did realize that it is Michael Keaton's kind of style of acting. And for that reason, for that point, I don't think it's that bad of a performance. I just don't think it's as good as some of our other main male leads in some of the other films, like in Castle in the Sky, Grave of the Fireflies, and so on and so forth. But I can get attached to him somewhat. He is basically a bounty hunter scoundrel, if you could say it lightly. He really doesn't, most of the time, doesn't really care for other people. So it kind of just, you know, he kind of just looks out for himself. Which at first it may seem like he's being a bit of a dick, but as the story goes on, you start to figure out kind of why he's like that, which we'll probably get to later. But what did you think about Michael Keaton in the film?
Definitely thought, you know, for his character, like, you know, Porco Rosso is supposed to be, you know, he only looks out for himself and he just doesn't really care. I think Michael Keaton did a pretty great delivery of his character.
Yeah. Next up we have basically our main antagonist for the film, Donald Curtis, played by Cary Elwes. I think that's how you say his last name. I think he's all right. Nothing too special about him. He's just your typical kind of douchebag kind of villain who just cares about money and wanting to get all the ladies. Yeah. That's basically his character. Nothing too special about him, but he wasn't a bad villain. Just kind of just your upsnotted kind of prick character.
He's just like a cocky, self-centered person, kind of.
Yeah. But yeah, what do you think about Curtis in the film?
Thought he was you know, pretty good for what he's supposed to be. Like, you know, like I said, he's supposed to be like that cocky, you know, person that only cares about like fame and himself, and just pretty overly confident. And, you know, I think he was pretty great overall in this movie.
Mm-hmm. Next up we have Theo Piccolo, played by like I said earlier, Kimberly Williams Paisley. I think that's how you say it. Paisley, I think. I think she was all right. She doesn't really have that much character to her. But I think overall she did all right with it.
Yeah.
But what do you think about Theo?
Solid character overall. I got nothing else.
Yeah, there's nothing really much to say about her. She's like your, if I could say it in the nicest way, she's like your archetypal girl character who doesn't really know what's going on around her and is kind of in over her head. Yeah. If that makes sense. Yeah. Which is not bad. It fits her character. It's just that besides that, there's not really much to her. Yeah. She does have a fascination for Porco in the film, which is kind of unsettling in certain moments, considering the fact that she's supposed to be a teen. Like I think didn't they say she's like 17 in the film?
Yeah, she's 17.
And God knows how old Porco is. I think at least in like his like 30s.
I'll look it up.
But you have a full. But forget the fact that it's a pig. You have basically a full-grown adult who is getting.
Oh shit. Okay, so apparently Porco's supposed to be 36. So that's like
Okay, to mid-30s.
yeah. So that's like over, like that's basically like double the age of the two.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, you have a guy in their mid-30s who is a pig, who is getting. Who has a 17-year-old girl with him, who he doesn't. He tries because they establish that he's like kind of like a womanizer, like the next character that we're gonna talk about, Gina, played by Susan Egan. He kind of fancies her, but he doesn't take up on the opportunity. And they establish that he's a womanizer, and you could tell that like even though he knows that it's wrong, you can tell at certain moments like he is like kind of like flustered by Theo, even though she's fucking 17 years old. So I could say there's a bit of, I mean, granted, they don't go into any R-rated sort of stuff, which is like, thank God. At least Porco knows his limits, you know?
Yeah.
I swear to God, I think there's at least one or two moments where Theo tries to get down Porco's pants, and he's just like, "Yep, no, I'm not doing that. Nope." So, yeah, it's kind of weird, but I mean, no offense to Theo, I think she's been honestly stuck up in like her father's or in her family's kind of like workshop for basically almost all of her life. So, I can kind of see it. Where it comes from, but at the same time, it's kind of icky. But yeah, obviously moving on to Gina, like I said, she was. I'm not to spoil it just yet. Her and Porco have some history. Like they know each other, and she's very kind to him. But they're both very kind to each other, but. Porco never really takes her up on any dates or whatever because of basically guilt that he's had, or guilt that he has inside of him. Which again, we're saving that for later. But what do you think about Gina in the film? I think that she was all right.
Yeah, like she doesn't like have a lot of moments, but she's not bad either. She's just okay in general.
She's kind of bland to start off with, but throughout the course of the movie, you understand her more.
I guess so.
Next up, we have Grandpa Piccolo. I'm sorry, saying that name over and over again is probably getting like calling Zons about her or whatever the fuck. You just say Piccolo, and all of a sudden Zon breaks through your door saying, "Did I sense a Dragon Ball reference?" I bet Franco wants to kill me right now.
I'll just say this: thank God he's in the road. He's on the road right now, and he can't join.
I bet you I'm gonna get a DM from him after the episode comes up saying like, "I heard that." But anyway, Grandpa Piccolo, played by David Ogden Thiers. I'm so sorry if I butchered that name. He was all right. He only had like a few scenes like near the beginning of the film, and then he was just completely gone throughout the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
So, but I think he did all right. What do you think about Grandpa Piccolo? And why the fuck did I do that voice?
All right, I'm gonna try to ignore that, but I thought he was. I thought he was all right. Again, he only has his scenes in like the workshop, and after that, it's just gone.
Yeah.
But for his time, I thought he was solid.
Yeah. And then oh god, this is gonna be a bitch to say, but Mama Atu Boss, I think that's how you say it.
Yeah.
Played by Brad Garrett. It's like, again, it's like one of those things where it's like you listen to it and it's like, wait a minute, I recognize you from somewhere, and then you go in, it's like, oh shit, it's that guy. He was a kind of like a background voice artist who appeared in some popular things, but the ones that caught my eye when I googled him was he appeared in both Ratatouille and Finding Nemo. I think in Ratatouille he was the dead chef that accompanies what's the main rat's name? I'm Remy.
Yeah,
is that how you say it?
Yeah,
okay.
Remy.
Yeah, it's like the kind of the dead chef that like owns like the big restaurant that like
Gusteau.
Everyone loves in Paris. Yeah, Gusteau. I think that's what his name. I think that's who he plays in Ratatouille. I could be totally wrong. But obviously, Franco and editing will probably put something up on screen.
Yeah,
saying if I'm wrong or not.
Yeah, he was Gusteau in Ratatouille.
Okay, so I was right. And then in Finding Nemo, I don't know what his name, or I don't know what he was. He could have been the turtle, the giant ass turtle. I'm not sure. But actually, either that or
apparently he was
Bruce the shark.
No, I'm looking it up right now. He was the puffer fish, like Bloat or something.
Oh, in the fucking fish tank. That guy. By the way, guys, if I ever decide to do a fucking Pixar marathon, I'm not ready to go back to Finding Nemo.
And
I'm not ready.
Or 2010's Pixar.
That's no, it is 2010s.
There are some good movies in there, but overall, it's not great.
Yeah.
Anyway,
what the fuck? Why are we talking about Pixar?
Yeah, I was gonna say. Anyway,
I think that was it for cast members.
Yeah.
So, favorite scenes, from Porco Rosso, Franco?
Now there are quite a few funny scenes, I will admit. Like,
yeah,
I think we were definitely laughing a lot. But favorite scenes, that's a hard one. I'm gonna
say right now, Porco Rosso, I can if it isn't labeled as such, this is a comedy. Like, this is flat out a comedy. And I cannot see if anyone's like, oh yeah, no, it's not. I feel like it's supposed to be a comedy. Am I wrong in saying that?
I mean, I don't mind.
Like, it really, I can't be the only one that's noticing that. Like, there's a lot of laugh out loud moments.
I mean, I'm looking up the genres right now, and comedy is one of them for this movie.
Okay.
Because you have anime, you have romance, comedy, fantasy, adventure, animation, and then magical realism.
Okay.
So you're not totally wrong.
But like, this is 100% a comedy. Like if you watch the movie, which I believe I think it's on Max. I'm gonna check it right now.
I'm not sure. I use Amazon Prime, like Prime Video, to watch these movies.
But yeah, like, if you watch this movie, you will definitely see it's a comedy. But Franco, you want to go over your favorite scenes?
I think this one we laughed the most at because it was just so out of nowhere. So it's like the scene where they're at like Porco's hideout, Porco and Theo, and it's nighttime, and Theo is trying to sleep but she can't, and then she's like, tell me a story, and then Porco tells the story, and I think after that she just after hearing the story, she I was so caught up. We were both so caught off guard because that was just out of nowhere. It's like, after she heard the story, basically of Porco's background and his role in the Great War, or World War I as it's now called.
Okay. Before you get to that, I'm just gonna say that whole backstory scene, like the backstory itself, is actually probably like my favorite scene in the entire movie.
It was definitely a great one.
Like, it reminds me of the Castle in the Sky sequence that I mentioned. That was my favorite scene in that film, where it was like the lightning storm and stuff. It gave me very similar vibes to that.
Yeah.
But go on.
Anyway, so after, Porco tells Theo his story, and like, I don't understand what the fuck was on her mind, but then, like, after that, she just straight up goes, "What if I kiss you, Porco?"
I forgot about that.
Like, the fuck? And like, when, like, she says, it's like that magic tale where, like, the princess, or like the girl, kisses the frog and he becomes human again.
That's a fucking that I can't be the only one that's noticing. That's a reference to Princess and the Frog. Like, that is such a reference. And yet, apparently, the Disney dub that we obviously watched for this review, that came out in 2005, which was like a whole 4 years before, the Princess and the Frog movie came out. So, I don't fucking know. But yeah, that scene was pretty funny. Is that was there anything else that caught to you, or like that kind of attached to you from the movie, or was that it?
I'm trying to think, because, like, I did laugh at that scene a lot, and I did think, despite this, despite what the fuck she just said, I think it was a moment where, like, Porco starts to, I guess,
Appreciate her more.
yeah, you could say that. I just can't get over how fucking caught off guard I was. That was just, like, out of nowhere. I guess I also liked, like, the, like, near the final, like, the final bit of the movie where, like, Porco and Curtis are, like, having their plane battle.
You motherfucker! You just stole that from me.
Actually,
Dead ass.
damn.
Fucking asshole.
Do you want to say it?
Yeah, I guess I could go over it. Yeah, so but yeah, like, besides the backstory part, which I said was like really my favorite scene in the film, the other one that comes to mind is the end kind of like battle sequence where basically before that that backstory sequence, Porco and Theo arrive back at Porco's kind of like house sort of thing, where it's basically a fucking tent. And all of a sudden, like, all these, the pirates that were chasing Porco throughout the movie, they were hiding on this fucking island, and they just bum rush him, and they're chatting or whatever, they're arguing with each other, and then fucking Mr. Hotshot Curtis shows up, and of course, being whatever the fuck his character is, he falls madly in love with Theo, even though she's only 17 years old. Anyway, and basically they make a bet saying that if Porco wins, then then the pirates have to give them like a crap ton of money, but if Curtis wins, then Theo has to marry him. So after they leave and after that backstory sequence, we get to the final battle, which it's kind of awesome, but kind of it's also very funny at the same time. Because the first like the majority of the fight is a dogfight in the air between their planes. But then they both actually run out of ammo in both of their guns, which I found was fucking hilarious. Like, I thought like it was gonna be like one of those moments where like where like the main character runs out of bullets and like, damn it, and like the enemy still has bullets in the machine gun, so he has to try and figure out a way to like kind of destroy them and shit. But it turns out that Curtis ran out of bullets too, so they're like both like, fuck. So I think Curtis first pulls out like a magnum and starts like shooting, like, I'm not gonna let you win. And he's like, ha, and then Porco's like, ha, you can't hit me from over there. Hits the like right behind him. He's like, oh shit. And he's like, oh, you want, because he broke the lever for the gun, and he's like, oh, you want some? Yeah. And he throws this like metal like rod out, and Curtis said like, haha, you miss. And all of a sudden he just looks for it, and then clunk. He just fucking gets whammed by the fucking piece of metal.
And then they just start throwing shit at each other.
Yeah, they're just throwing like, yeah, you gotta get better than that.
And that's not even the end, because like they shortly pull up.
They land on the ground, and then they're like, all right, with fisticuffs, bitch, let's go. And I'm like, bro, just play the Rocky theme over this, and you're good.
This motherfucker actually did play the Rocky theme.
Yeah, I did.
Like, we go
but they're full on fucking boxing and shit. I'm like, what kind of fucking movie is this?
Like, yeah, we go from a plane battle to like just throwing shit at each other to a fucking boxing match. It's like
we're like a bell too, even though it's like a frying pan. It's like, ding, round 2, bitch, let's go. Oh my god, it's fucking hilarious. And then by the end, like, they both have like black eyes, their faces are all swollen. I'm like, oh, you fucker. Yeah, I'm gonna get you something. And then they both get a KO on each other, and they both just sit on the oh. And the guy's like, 1, 2, 3, and at that moment, that's when Gina shows up. He's like, all right, you motherfucker, Marco, because that's what was. Oh wait, we didn't even go into the backstory yet, which we should probably go into that actually, so that people don't get confused. Basically, Porco was a human.
Yeah.
Back in World War I, he was a fighter pilot for, what was it, the Italian Air Force?
Yeah.
But then during his last battle, which he said I think he said like, yeah, that one battle was his worst one, and that was his last one. His platoon of like 5 people went up against the enemy team, which I don't even think they specified what the enemy team was, like which country they're from. But they started like battling, and Porco says like basically like he was about to black out, and then all of a sudden everything around him turned white, and he thought like he was in heaven. And then obviously we're throwing screen grabs so to obviously illustrate the points. But he rises like above this like cloud thing, and he looks up and he sees like this light stream in the sky, and he's like, what the fuck is that? And then he sees his buddy float up from the cloud, but he keeps on going up, where Marco is just like sitting there in his plane, like he's just like on like the level, like the cloud level basically, while his friend is like going. I was like, hey, you can't do this to Gina, like you gotta stay down there, just take me. And all of a sudden, like all of his like squad mates start flying up, and then all of the enemy planes start flying up, but he's still staying there. And he realizes at that point, like, this is heaven, and they are all going to the afterlife. But he's stuck in the middle, basically saying that it wasn't his time yet. And it's fucking he's managed to stay alive, obviously, and goes back down to the sea. But I don't think they ever actually explained how he turned into a pig.
Yeah, I don't think they did.
If I'm wrong, there'll obviously be some text on the screen basically explaining it.
Okay. I just wait. Yeah.
But basically,
yeah, it says it's unclear.
Okay.
Well, actually, someone says he became a pig because he was disillusioned with humanity. So
basically, he distanced himself from humanity. And God was just like, all right, well, fuck you. You get I'll turn you into a pig.
I guess it's still unclear, but that's what I can find.
But yeah, basically, the movie doesn't give an explanation why he turned into a pig. But they give him a backstory, basically, like what happened to him and what may have caused him to turn into a pig. But yeah, like to go back to the end fight. But yeah, they're both sitting there like, and then yeah, Gina just comes up like, all right, Marco, get the fuck up, come on, like I don't have time for your bullshit. And he rises up out of the water, and everyone's like, yay, Porco won, woohoo! And then she's like, because she was getting a telegram before, basically saying that the Italian Air Force is coming to their location, to where they're at, to where Porco and Curtis are at, and basically, they shut the whole thing down and get Porco, because they have a warrant out for his arrest. And so everyone starts screaming, and then Porco is like, "Hey, you want to help me distract those planes so that everyone else can leave?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure." And that was the last time that people saw Porco Rosso. Allegedly. I think, okay, this is okay. Before we get on to the fun facts and stuff, I do want to mention this because this is bullshit on my part. Or I don't know if I didn't see anything from the movie itself, or this was strictly for the advertisement, and I'm fully right on this. But there are several posters for Porco Rosso, I think, that are English versions, that show both him and Gina in his plane and kind of marriage outfit sort of thing. And I'm like, where the fuck was that in the movie? Obviously, the poster would be showing up on screen here. They kind of illustrate the point. But it's still where the fuck was that? Because there was, as far as I know, there was no shots during the end credits that showed that. The actual ending that we got, like I said, it's Theo explaining that, no one ever saw him again. So we just presumed that he basically just disappeared and is now undercover. And the last shot of the movie is just seeing a red plane fly past camera. We don't know if it's Porco's or if it's just some random red plane. We don't know. They never explain it. So why the fuck is the advertising lying to me? I find that bullshit. But do you want to say anything else, Franco, before we move on to the fun facts?
We spent way too much time on that. But I got nothing else, so I guess we can move on to fun facts.
All right. So, fun fact number one is that, did you know that this movie wasn't intended to be a full-length feature film? Let me explain. Basically, it was originally planned to be a 30 to 45 minute in-flight movie for Japan Airlines. But director Hayao Miyazaki eventually was like, you know what, let me expand the story, and it turned into a feature-length movie. And that's how we got the Porco Rosso movie as it is now. So I thought that was kind of cool. And fun fact number two is that, did you know that Porco's hideout was inspired by an actual beach? Apparently it was inspired by Stiniva Beach. I think that's how you say it.
Yeah.
And this is I think this is a beach on Vis Island in Croatia.
Croatia.
Oh, Croatia. I'm fucking idiot. But yeah, if we can try and find the beach in real life, we will be throwing up comparisons on screen.
And it does.
But I didn't even know that.
I mean, it does make sense because this story does take place in not only Italy but the Adriatic Sea as well, which is where Croatia's near. So
but yeah, this takes place. We didn't. I don't think we actually said this so far in the review, but this does take place after World War I, but before World War II.
1930s Italy.
Yeah, 1930s Italy. So I can only assume that this supposedly is supposed to take place in our actual timeline, because Porco is the only pig creature that we see in the film. The rest of the characters are human. So I don't know what the whole deal is behind that. But yeah, Franco, what are your final thoughts on Porco Rosso?
Coming from the terrible Only Yesterday experience, I was glad that we got a good movie after that experience. But while it is definitely good, I don't think it's as good as the previous ones that we've seen. I probably watched this over Nausicaa, but compared to the rest, I don't think it's as good, but it's still a fun movie to watch and certainly funny.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, this is certainly the funniest Studio Ghibli movie that we've come across in a long ass time.
yeah,
Well, actually, I think this is actually the first actually funny Studio Ghibli movie, like that was supposed to be funny. Um, but yeah, I pretty much I have the same sentiment as you. Like, this is a good movie, and it is certainly better than Only Yesterday. But I don't know if I put this on the same level as the rest or the other Studio Ghibli movies that we talked about so far. In terms of rewatch value, I think this certainly has more rewatch value than both than like movies like Nausicaa and Grave of the Fireflies. But not as much as like Castle in the Sky or My Neighbor Totoro did. So in terms of ranking it, it's kind of difficult. I'm gonna give it. I'm trying to remember what I gave Nausicaa.
yeah, I
I
can't.
think I gave
remember.
that like a B plus.
Yeah, I think I was B or something. I would probably give.
I'm gonna give Porco Rosso. I'm gonna give it a B plus as well.
Yeah,
But I
same.
am gonna put it higher than Nausicaa.
Yeah, definitely.
And because rewatch value, it is certainly better. But it doesn't really compare up to any of the other ones, which are like at least A tier movies.
Yeah.
But yeah. But anyway, guys, we hope you enjoyed this episode of Studio Ghibli Summer. As per usual, go and check out Abo's channel. Actually, I don't know which way your camera is from mine because mine's probably flipped. But go and check out his channel on both YouTube and Kick. He has I think you were currently streaming Mario Odyssey before Studio Ghibli started.
Yeah, but now I've just focused my time on this.
But yeah, once this is all done, he will be going back to Mario Odyssey. So stay tuned for that. As per usual, go and check out the other Studio Ghibli reviews that we did. We did enjoy ourselves with those ones, and I can only hope that we're gonna enjoy ourselves. God damn it. As per usual, you can follow me on my social media pages down below, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. That's when you get notified when future videos are coming out, or just about my personal life in general. If you want to know about what I think about movies early, before the reviews come out on YouTube, go and follow me on my Letterboxd page. And also follow me on my Twitch page because I'm going to try and get back into live streaming, although I'm not sure how that's going to go. And also, as obviously, if you like this sort of content, make sure to hit that subscribe button and hit that bell icon to get notified when future videos are coming out. And Franco, you want to announce what the next episode will be about?
Oh boy. Alright. The next Studio Ghibli movie we have on the list is Ocean Waves, released in 1993. Now, I've heard bad things about this, so I'm not excited for this.
And this may be the only Studio Ghibli movie that we're gonna have to watch in its original Japanese guise because there is no English dub for Ocean Waves. So
because
while it's not a bad thing, I'm personally fine with watching foreign movies in their original audio if there's not the English version to watch, or an English dub for it available. I'm fine with that. It's just that the movie as a whole, I am not ready for.
Yeah, and apparently, this was so bad that not even Disney wanted to do a dub. So that just makes me even more scared to watch this.
Yeah, not even G Kids After made a dub of this. See you guys. See you guys next time for our review of Ocean Waves. We'll see you guys later.